Okay, everybody, once you have your entire bag of stuffing put in the pillow, it should feel hopefully a little softer rather than firm if you fluffed the stuffing as you put it in the pillow. You should have your opening at the bottom here, and you'll see it's normal for a bunch of stuffing to kind of stick to the outside of the pillow. So at the very end, I'll teach you how to get that off of your pillow. Right now, we're going to hand sew it together. So what you want to do is reach in there and push that stuffing out of the way for right now, and then make sure that you still have that nice crease you had from the iron. And we're going to be sewing those creases together to create that invisible stitch, and then hopefully you won't even see any of your thread after it's hand sewn together. So what you're going to do first is take a hand sewing needle. And remember, these come on those pieces of felt that you should have. You're going to take the needle off, and you guys will see that there's that little eye up at the top. We're going to thread that, and you're going to use the blue thread that came with your pillow. So you'll have to check in with me, take some blue thread that matches, and you're just going to thread the eye of the needle. Pull the thread all the way down, and you'll see it kind of unravel from the spool. Once you have about an arm's length of thread, you're going to take the ends here, and you're just going to cut them so that they're the same exact length. Now, to tie a knot, what we're going to do is line up the edges of your thread. So those two edges at the very bottom, you're going to line those up together, which is not the easiest thing. So if you can't get it, a trick is you can kind of roll them together to keep them together. Otherwise, lay them together and you can just trim to make sure that they're the exact same length. Then you want your needle to be down on the other end when you pull the thread tight. So to tie the knot, you're going to take your thread ends, hold them on top of the needle, and then you're just going to pinch them together to hold them. Once you have that, you take this side of your thread, so I have this big loop. I'm going to take whatever's in my left hand here. I'm going to wrap it around the needle 5 times. Once you can see that little thread wrapped around the needle, you're going to reach up and grab that also and pinch that with your thumb and your forefinger, and then you're going to slide the needle up and out and make sure you're still holding, and you'll see that knot form right at the end down there. So just give it a tug, make sure it's in there pretty well, and see if I tugged mine, there's a little extra that comes out. That's a good thing. So then you'll see that I have my knot at the bottom, and it should be about that big, and that will not go through your pillow. So now I have my needle threaded and knotted. So I'm going to take my pillow, and the first thing I'm going to do, because I'm right-handed, I'm going to start over here on the left side and then flip my pillow over. So the first stitch, you want to take your needle and you're going to go in right by the stuffing down here. So I'm going to take my needle, go under, and then have the needle, the sharp part, come out, just like this. So this is what your first stitch should look like here. Then I'm going to pull through, and you'll see that thread and the knot will just disappear in there. Now I'm going to turn my pillow around or flip it so that I am sewing from right to left because I'm right-handed. So what you're going to do is you should see that crease that you ironed in there on the top flap. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to put my needle in and have it come out just like this. So you always want your needle to be horizontal with this opening. What you don't want, you do not want to put your needle in this way and have your needle running perpendicular to the opening. If you sew like this, you will see your stitches as you go all the way down. So you want to change it and have your needle go right on top of that crease that you ironed in, and you're going to pull through. Okay, so that's my first stitch. Now my second stitch, I'm going to take my needle, and you'll see my thread came out right here, so that's where I'm going to put my needle in on the bottom. And then same thing, you want your needle to go parallel to this fold or parallel to the opening. So it should all be running the same direction or horizontal. And I'm going to pull through. Then I'm going to go back up to the top, right onto my crease here. Pull through. Same thing on the bottom. And remember, the smaller and closer together that your stitches are, the better it will look. And sometimes this stitch is also called the ladder stitch. because it forms little rungs back and forth just like a ladder. Now remember, this is about the point where a lot of students start putting their needle the wrong direction and they start going up and down. Remember, you want your needle still going side to side or horizontal. Okay, so I've got a couple stitches sewn, so now I'm going to pull those tight, and you'll see my stitches just disappear and close the pillow up. So I'm going to continue on with those horizontal stitches. Pull tight. Now sometimes it's difficult to get that needle in going horizontal to be right on top of the crease, but you really have to make sure you get as close as you can to that. So this one, I'm going to fold over right on top of the crease. Pull tight. And if you have little pieces of stuffing that get caught in there, feel free to just reach in, pull them out. Okay guys, and this is my final stitch here. So everything is close together. You'll see I have a little thread that's sticking out from when I machine sewed. So I'm just going to reach in there with my shears very carefully and trim that. And now I'm ready to sew the knot. So to sew a knot and to make it all finished, you're going to sew up and down this time. So before our needle was going this direction, now we can have our needle go this direction. You're going to sew a tiny stitch. It doesn't really matter where. Before you pull tight, take your needle and put it through this loop of thread, and then pull tight. I'm going to do that a second time. So I sew a loop, take my needle, put it through, and then I'm going to do it a third time, and then it's completely knotted. Now to lose the thread, you're going to take your needle, put it down into the pillow somewhere close by, and have it just come out at a random point. Then I'm going to scrunch this up really tight, reach in there with a pair of shears and trim my thread, and then you'll see that thread will disappear into the pillow. So now it's completely hand sewn, and the last step is to get rid of all of this extra stuffing that's on there. And to do that, you can come up to my desk, just take a piece of tape, stick it to your pillow, and it should pull that right off.